Yeah, so we setting up the pod, man. So as soon as I popped in there, this guy here that you see on this side of me here, that's Raf Diaz. For anybody that doesn't know, right now he's moving up the ladder in Knicks Twitter, man. So as soon as I came on here in the green room to talk to him, this guy starts popping off, pop, 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 pop. Yo, this that nigga Julius Randle, this motherfucker over here back in 2017. Like, holy shit. You know what I'm saying? So, the purpose of this thing, man, is the whole diehard stuff, man. We waste a lot of time on the internet, like you were just telling me just now offline, just the passion that you have to talk Knicks basketball, man. So that's really what this is all about. So does Diehard have a friend? We'll figure out today, man. So but before we get into that, let's just drop the intro and then let's get busy. So Raph, what's good, man?
Yo,
Popping off as soon as you came with this
cool.
thing, man.
I appreciate it, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really appreciate these moments, the opportunity. That's what it's all about. Like, opportunity. I have an opportunity to be here, and you know what I'm saying. I feel like it's all about representing as a Knicks fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like you see so many other channels supporting supporting their own favorite team. So I grew up watching. I don't want to say I grew up watching. I worked the 9 to 5 watching when I could nothing but Knicks. So I've seen whose Mark support Kristaps Porzingis as much as he could. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Legion as well, and Sam as well, and listen to the Frank Ntilikina Hive, and listen to Ron Cleveland calling. Like I remember, so I remember listening to those things, and I was, at one time I called, I was nervous, I was shook to call in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the I feel like the passion to talk Knicks basketball. When I worked my 9 to 5, I didn't have that much people to talk Knicks basketball. I used to have my I used to have to learn how to talk to OKC fans or some NBA fans, and I had to learn how to adjust just to sort of like maintain so anything they can say back about the Knicks for me, like will be like gold for me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like like you could be a fan of the Lakers, but if you just say anything about, let's just say, Julius Randle, RJ Barrett, or anybody, I'd be like, oh snap, they recognize us. You know what I'm saying? That'll be enough for me. So,
But
I didn't have.
you said those guys, man. Are they fans? Are they fans of the team, or are they fans of the star player that was on the team at the time? That's the thing.
Listen, man. When you don't have Knicks fans to talk to, you take whatever. I took whatever they gave me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So with anything, so then after the pandemic hit, I started calling in. I thought I was just calling in once, and I was shook. Like, oh man, let me just see how this goes. And then because sometimes when you call in, people, I don't know, like I don't know how to say it, but sometimes you feel like like people could say like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, whatever. Even that goes on anywhere.
Yeah.
And I got enough. I got enough ego. I got enough ego for that. So it's like you don't. It's like you don't. I will clap back. So then I'm like, okay. So you think I don't know what I'm talking about? I will take that to distance. So I don't mind. So at that time, I thought my idea was like, I bet you I could call in. I bet you I could call nothing but Knicks, and that's like I bet you I can hold my own with Sim, with Legion, with Who's Mark. And so I started doing that, but it.
This thing is about sparring. You just want to get in there to spar.
I want to be, because remember, I haven't talked to a Knicks fan in a long time. Yeah. So I'm up. You don't find Knicks fans. So sometimes when I'm nothing but Knicks, I'm like, well, these guys are in the pan. I was like, my man, I was like, I done had to I was like, listen, I'm ready to argue, like learn, get familiar with that. So I was like, you know what, man, I want to be a good caller. And then at that time, I think Guillermo. I used to call whatever. People used to make fun of me like the way I pronounce his name. But then he used to open up Legion of Knicks podcast.
Right.
So I was like, oh snap, Legion's having his own show. So I used to go to his show. So I'm like, oh snap, and then I think him and Triborough and some other people. So I used to be like, okay, so they, I'm like during the pandemic, no sports. I'm talking more. I couldn't stop talking. You couldn't stop me from talking Knicks basketball. So I was like, man, I was like, yo, listen, like, what are you gonna do? I was like, yo. So then I met Freezy. I don't even know how I met Freezy. I don't remember that part. Like, I remember just me talking to Legion, and then I don't know how Freezy sportscaster, and by the time you know it, I'm doing sportscaster with Freezy, then I'm doing shows with Freezy, and then I'm going back to Legion. I'm like, oh man, because I was shook to go to Legion show to be a panelist. I was like, oh, Legion. I was like, I'm stuttering talking to Sim. I was like, I'm gonna be nervous. People are gonna see me nervous in person, and but then I got to a point. Then I learned how to fight through it. I was like, yo, listen, bro, like, you're a Knicks fan, and you gotta fight through this as a Knicks fan to represent. So then I'm like, I'm gonna represent. So I said, everybody's gonna lose today. So that's how I step up.
Well, I'm gonna cut you off here, man, Mister. I got State in here. I'm gonna throw State in because State is like the freaking Deadpool in this thing. I got a pod going, and he just pops himself in there. Now he has his devices messed up or whatever. But I want him to come in just to say what he had to say. But I want to stop you, man, because I want to know when did this stuff start? Like, because right now is this all the internet age, but before the internet age, like, how did you get your Knicks fix in? Like, what was the atmosphere with that?
I was I took like I was on and off, with the early 2000s, you know how that goes. Like, we had to deal with Isaiah Thomas. The 90s Knicks was cool. I wasn't crazy about, because you know what it is, to be honest, like, I wasn't the biggest Patrick Ewing fan, right? I gotta own it, right? I like playing ball. I like dribble. I like to dribble as a basketball player.
So you actually play basketball too?
I play basketball. I mean, did I play like no, I wish I did. I was just a guy who I got admitted to college, but I didn't play college ball or varsity and stuff. I wish I did, but I didn't. You know what I mean?
I'm the same way. I'm just a street ball guy. I was into smoking weed and getting girls. That's what I was doing.
Gotcha. But me and my friends, we used to try to like say like, yo, man, like, let's try to make it. Like, we used to like really be that naive, because we used to like be up all day playing ball. I'm in college. We're passing classes. We didn't even go to some of our classes just to play ball, because we're like, yo, man, like, putting in hours trying to stay in shape. Like, yo, man, we gotta stay in shape. $5 in our pocket. We can't even we didn't have no money. We just wanted to play ball and be in shape and work on our jump shooting form, work on our handle, and so people like Allen Houston was a big inspiration, because we used to I appreciate like people I can learn from. Like, I can learn from somebody who's a jump shooter like Allen Houston, or Iverson was, of course, a favorite of mine. And
so that's the era then. What is that, like the
90s,
early 2000s?
Not the 90s era, because remember, Iverson got drafted in 96. So
true, yeah.
Iverson's doing stuff that I've never seen of. Like, how can you make people cross? How can you cross somebody over? Is they gonna shift to the other side?
They used to jump, not to shift.
They used to hit the other side. So I'm hearing this. So that's me as a teenager. I'm like, what? So then I used to work on that. Like, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna make this guy jump to the other side and could do the Iverson. So it was stuff like that. But then I'm like, yo, you know what? Sometimes, my friends used to want to do the dribble, and I'm like, yo, listen, I'm gonna post up. I'm gonna work on my form. Just be a jump shooter like Allen Houston. Allen Houston's nice. Everybody. That's the only thing that I felt like was like a saving grace. Like, so we have somebody who has a smooth jump shot, who he had a good behind the back and can pull up from three. So and also what he did against the Miami Heat, like stuff like that. I felt like, so I don't get mad when I listen to State about being obsessed about wing players. You know what I mean? I don't get mad that people love Quentin Grimes. Why? Because he has a jump shot. Like, bro, I understand that era. You gotta have a jump shot because the stigma with the Knicks was they're all defense. They don't got a jump shot. They got a center that's good. Okay. Patrick Ewing's phenomenal. I'm not gonna here to take anything with, but like I'm pro like that era of. I'm pro that era of like, yo, bro, you gotta have a jump shot. I mean, I'm not too crazy about just like having defense and no jump shot. You gotta have a jump shot too.
So my thing, my from what I get from you, man, like it seems like you just a killer. Like you just a stone cold killer. You want to get the crossover so you could destroy the motherfucker. You want the jump shot so you could destroy the motherfucker. You want to get on the panel so you could destroy a motherfucker. You just want to destroy a motherfucker.
Well, as a baller, right? Because the thing, I mean, when I play ball, I mean, I love basketball. Like I love that. I really, really, really love basketball.
So what do you think about the Liberty? Let me throw you off.
I haven't kept up, man. I'm only keeping up because of you. The only thing that's influencing me keeping up with the Liberty is probably you, but I haven't kept up with the whole Liberty. But I am learning bits by bits because of you. So I give much props to you. But
what do you think about the game though? Because some people just disregard it. They disregard that. They also disregard the European game. So are you into that or like I assume you're from the Dominican Republic, right? You're from the Dominican Republic. Do you follow the national team and things of that nature?
No, I mean keeping up with the Knicks is hard enough.
Word up.
You want to? I mean, I'm going against the RJ Barrett police every day.
But look what you got on. See, you always strapped for war. You always go against the RJ police, but you got the shirt on.
Look, I got the RJ Barrett because he got the contract extension, which I said he should have gotten. People wanted to. I got killed because I didn't want to pay him $180 million. I'm supporting RJ Barrett because he's part of the Big 15. Do not confuse me for one of these RJ Barrett stands that want to trade everybody except RJ Barrett. I'm just here to support him with the Big 15. You know what I mean? Please do not confuse me with one of these RJ Barrett stands that want to trade everybody except RJ Barrett.
All right, so speaking of that, man, you threw that right in the mix because State just popped in here again. So listen, State keeps jumping in the pies, man. This is Diehard has a friend. I'm interviewing Raph, bro. What's the matter with you? So anyway, State is here. So what you got to say about the whole RJ stuff?
I'm happy, man. I'm happy that the Knicks finally, invested in their draft picks after 21 years of not investing.
Right. But listen, they already signed Mitchell Robinson, you know what I'm saying? So it's already proven that they're doing that stuff, man. So let's talk about the freaking stand stuff, because Raph, whenever Raph first got onto Twitter and whatever, really just even like on other people's shows, I want to say Freezy and maybe Legion and stuff, you just peeping and see people used to be attacking this guy on Raph for no freaking reason, but Raph is standing there with his back against the wall throwing punches and doing, everybody's coming at him, you know what I'm saying? Raph always stood his ground. Well, no matter whoever was coming at him, that's why I always respect Raph, man. I always try to think of him every time I'm trying to do something. But you know how we give it up here. Everything is always random.
People, and I told people this the other day. You gotta respect motherfuckers like Raph, because Raph reminds me of myself. When I'm passionate about a take, you can't move me off my take, bro. Regardless of what you're saying, even if you're saying it's logical, I understand what you're saying is logical, but sometimes you can't move me off my take. I've had debates before with Ralph or nothing but Knicks, but I'm not here to try to sway his opinion. You get what I'm saying? I'm here to have him hear me out. Me and you don't always got to agree, but as long as we hear each other.
This guy's thinking.
There's actually a lot of stuff about State that I actually want to there's a lot of questions I got for State too, but that's for another time. That's for Twitter Spaces and stuff like that, because I don't got. There's gonna be 100 takes on that, because
before we get started with that, I'm gonna get you out of here, State, because I mean this is supposed to be for Raph. You know what I'm saying? So when we do Diehard State of Mind, we could drop Raph in here, and we could talk that way, man. But this is all for Raph, so I really want Raph to get his bars out.
Ralph, appreciate you. I'll be
So
watching
here, State.
football.
So, but there's a lot of state like that. Like state. Like I often want to understand why the dynamic,
right?
Why this? Why that? That's. I feel like that I actually like. I don't mind. I think he owns up to a lot of his stuff, so it's kind of easy. So if he's not, so I like that his favorite player is RJ Barrett. But I'm not at that level that I would trade everybody except RJ Barrett. No, you're not going to confuse. Like it was hard for me to put this T-shirt on because I run into one of these RJ Barrett sentences like, yo, bro, like I'm not going to put it on today, and I'm like, Ralph, be the bigger man, stop it. It's his day. It's RJ Barrett's day today. Stop it. He's part of the Big 15, and but like.
Well, the thing with like State and like just people that I've been calling on to get on this thing here, everybody is this, they're diehards, man. So this is an actual definition. This is not from Webster's. Somebody was telling me, why don't you use Webster's? But I'm using dictionary.com because they actually went in a little bit depth into it, man. So I mean, it says a person who vigorously maintains or defends a seemingly hopeless position, outdated attitude, lost cause, or the like. You know what I'm saying? Does that sound like everything that you've been saying, or just like the definition of people that you've been around?
I'm gonna be honest, like I don't know, like these are new terminologies that I've never used. Like I never used the terminology diehard. I just say myself, I'm a Knicks fan, and I just kind of like I feel like I expect everybody to understand that. I guess that I'm a diehard. I guess right, diehard Knicks fan, right? Because
it's like a cliche term, So, but when you really look at the definition of it, it really kind of goes crazy. Like the adjective for it is resisting vigorously and stubbornly to the last. That's a Knicks fan if it ain't a Knicks fan, And that basically describes State to a T. That describes you to a T too. Because before I can even really get the focus of your picture on the screen when you first popped on, you're already popping off at me like, yo,
that's true. That's true too. That's true too.
Yeah.
But I just feel that we're entering new eras, Iru. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's different to say you're a Knicks fan now versus the Carmelo era or right after because like the thing is that we started drafting. You know what I mean? So I feel like those draft picks that some people appreciate them, some people don't. Those they made me say, well, listen, we're much different than before. We're much different than I want to say much different than the 90s, but we have a core. We have a little core, you know what I mean? So we have a little core. So it's like it's okay for me to sort of like I just kind of view it different. Like, I just try to look at this. The only thing that I get tired is the constant comparison of like, if you look at Golden State, they move the ball and then they switch up and they talk about, I want this team to be a completely defensive team. Like you have the extremes of people wanting this team to be more like Golden State, and then you want this team to be like the Toronto Raptors, I would say, right?
Right. Well, what's the common denominator with that? It's always like the team that's winning at the time. If Toronto just won a championship, we need to be more like Toronto. Golden State's winning, we need to be more like Golden State. But it's like the ride, like you were saying, like drafting well and just having something to latch onto, something to believe in, something to follow as far as your team is concerned. Like to be a copycat and just to be a part of the aftermath of like say like a Golden State fan, they're gonna trash us, So that's the only people we have to argue because Knicks fans were hiding this whole time. So we got to argue with the front runners. So being a front runner is not what it is to be what we're doing here. That's not what we are.
But just to keep it in perspective, going forward, I think this is going to be a unique team. Jalen Brunson, RJ Barrett, and Julius Randle.
Yeah,
I think this is going to be a team that you can't compare us, arguably, to any other team. I think we're entering into a zone where where it's going to be okay. Like where I'm going to start saying, stop comparing us to Golden State. We're stop comparing and be respectable and to the Toronto Raptors because we're much different dynamic. Jalen Brunson, a good lefty, RJ Barrett. I mean, I don't even mention RJ Barrett because RJ Barrett is you can't even hold him accountable at this point. I don't want no problems with the RJ Barrett police. But
Well, give it up, man. This is you. You know, whatever you want to say.
Julius Randle is a good lefty, but so I think we're entering into a dynamic where in a year or two where this team is going to be like this team is going to be. I would anticipate this team can score against anybody. You should. I mean, I know Julius Randle could, but
and what do you think about this guy? What do you think about this guy? That's Tom Thibodeau. There. What do you think about him?
Thibodeau? I'm pro Tom Thibodeau, man. I know you hate him. I know you hate him, but I like him.
Well, do you think he's the guy to be able to get these guys, you know, playing that way? Because I agree with that. On paper, these guys, even without Donovan Mitchell, because I feel like without Donovan Mitchell, we can go 12 deep. You know, we can get the rotations going. You know, guys can stay healthy, stay fresh, and as a team, as a unit, we should be able to function defensively and offensively. So,
like my whole thing, is this. When I get it. I get this whole narrative about COVID season. Fine. When it was COVID season, the first thing the team did to win, what they did, defend. That's it. Yeah. Start defending. If you want to defend, if you want to win these games, defend. This new season came up. Leon Rose changed things up. So again, I made a video. I said, listen, Leon Rose, you kind of failed Julius Randle with this Kemba Walker signing or trading, whatever you want to call it. Like trading for Kemba Walker did not help Tom Thibodeau. Derrick Rose only playing 25 games for the whole season. Did not help Tom Thibodeau. Nerlens Noel, who also helped get this team to the NBA playoffs, did not help Tom Thibodeau. What are you doing for Tom Thibodeau? And he's in the hole. He has to deal with these fans that are expecting RJ Barrett, Cam Reddish, who are this team that's real young, who are too young to be held accountable to take this team to the playoffs or to win 41 games. Right. You can't do if you can't hold these kids accountable. Why should we hold Tom Thibodeau even more accountable when you can't even hold half the roster accountable? So what are we doing here?
Yeah, you're right about that.
People want to, and I hear the argument. What's the argument they're trying to make? 7 players are shooting 40%. Well, he's playing a young roster, so you expect to shoot when you have a young roster. Well, what do you think their field goal percentage is going to be? 40%, 41. I mean, it's a young roster, so he's just I'm glad he's strong enough to deal with a young roster. That's important. That's tough, and especially when you have a washed-up Kemba Walker, a Derrick Rose that plays only 25 games. Nerlens Noel plays 25. Those guys were key for this. Even when Julius Randle had an All-NBA season, he still needed their help. Like, it's okay to say Julius Randle needs help. Who said it's not? It's not. To say Julius Randle needs help is not a knock on Julius Randle, especially if Jason Tatum has Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, and Al Horford, and everybody else. So they can have all that help, but to say Julius Randle and Tom Thibodeau need better than 25 games from Derrick Rose is too much to ask. Like, let's just keep it in level. So I'm glad he could deal with the storm. You know, he could deal with the critique. And listen, another one that you guys are not gonna, another thing that you're not gonna like is I like the fact that Tom Thibodeau said that you need to watch games again. I know you're not happy. I know you're not happy.
People. I know me and State were going crazy with that one.
But I appreciate it. You know why? Because I've listened to, and I'm going to paraphrase this so I don't get myself in trouble.
Yo, this is your show, man. You say what you need to say.
People who I respect, like Sim, he watches the game more than one time. He tells you, I watched the game more than once. Freezy also goes, yo, I watched the game more than once. Legion, I watched the game more than once. Bro, there's levels to this. So I'm like, so me, I got a DVR. I'm like, bro, I'm going to have to step my game up next season. I'm going to get the DVR because I'm trying to step my game up. You got to watch the game more than once, and so that you can talk about it. And when we doing these arguments, I'm going to be able to show you on screen, hey, listen, are you referring to this play right here? And have those kind of conversations, because that's important. We can't just, watch it.
without the whole watching the games over and over again. You made a great point with the Tom Thibodeau and the young players, because these guys are all young. So if you're not gonna kind of hold these guys accountable, say no, these guys are young. Oh, he's only 21, he's only 23, he's only his second year. You can't do that.
Players. How many players is that? We got Mitchell Robinson, R.J. Barrett starting, Cam Reddish, Quentin Grimes, IQ,
Deuce,
Jericho. That's 7 players.
Yeah.
What are we doing? So we just we gotta blame Julius Randle. He's a $28 million.
So here's another thing too that I will add to that. Since Julius Randle was the $23 million man, whatever, with incentives, is more than that. But now he's not the highest paid player now. Now he's the third highest paid player. So does RJ, the guy that you have the shirt for, does RJ get the same smoke that Julius had now that he got paid? Does Jalen get that smoke?
I'm pessimistic on that. I mean, with the RJ Barrett police patrolling the Twitter streets.
Yeah.
You think they're gonna hold RJ Barrett accountable? I say never. I'm pessimistic on that.
Right. I'm not one of those guys with the age stuff, because I mean my thing, these guys are professional basketball players. So as soon as you sign up and put your sneakers on, you got the jersey on and this, that, and the other, you're a professional. It is another thing too with accountability. Like when you remember, you was talking about being on the panel and stuff like that, being ready to knock cats out, like you was alluding to, man. It's the same thing. It's like once you put the jersey, or once you step into the arena of podcasting and doing that talk stuff, you got to be ready for war, man. So I would never say, well, listen, man, this is Ralph's first day on the panel, so let's give him a pass or something like that, or he hasn't tweeted in a while, so let's give him a pass on that. No, if you say something that nobody likes, they're gonna freaking bomb you on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? If you go into Twitter Spaces, whatever, you're gonna get into like a freaking almost a knife fight on Twitter Spaces with the way they be going at cats. Same thing with the thing, man. So the
RJ Barrett police. That's the RJ Barrett police. They're just and then they have detectives too. They have yeah, they have the detectives.
They do. Yeah, they got screenshots and they keep them shit for months too.
Looking, making sure that everything is fine. Did you find anything? It's crazy with these with the RJ Barrett police. But look, I'm excited for this season. I don't know about holding RJ Barrett accountable, but I'm excited about to see the dynamic, how this team wins. So I want to see Jalen Brunson. I'm glad Jalen Brunson is here to help Julius Randle. Our Julius Randle was there in game 1 in the playoffs to see Jalen Brunson's live. So I'm happy about that.
So after all that, do you think Julius will ever be traded? Because even after this Donovan Mitchell thing, we signed RJ. Everybody's still talking about Donovan Mitchell, but even though with Donovan Mitchell, everybody wants to get rid of Fournier in this deal, and then whatever, and then after that, they still want Julius out of here. So like, where do you stand with all these trades and all this crazy
stuff?
Well,
the thing is that we need somebody to hate. So Julius Randle is the perfect guy to hate, for Knicks fans. So Knicks fans will you have to the Knicks. I feel like Knicks fans need somebody to hate, and that's why Julius Randle's my guy, man. I mean, he was my guy before they hated him. I thought we'll get past this, because I was like, when I was in 2020, after we see Julius Randle destroying it, there were so many Julius Randle fans that I felt like, what, let me talk about something else, because there were so many Julius Randle fans. But now I come back and I'm like, okay, here it goes. I got to start defending Julius Randle, and I'm very familiar with this territory, and I'm ready to defend my Julius Randle. So that's what I like it about me. So I feel like I'm winning over here, man. YouTube. So I'm like, oh, great! I feel like I got my old job back. Like, oh man,
You're snapping a jab.
I'm by myself defending Julius Randle. Oh man, I know this. I'm very familiar with this territory. Nobody wants to defend Julius Randle.
Well, check this though. Like, I put the thumbs down up on the screen. You got this too. Remember this game where he was pouting and stuff like that. This is the images. People only respond to images and stuff like that, especially with the workouts, little games and stuff like that. They think that what they see, that's the only thing that's happening. They're very close-minded with stuff. So when it comes to that situation, it wasn't really close-minded. It was a big thing. It was like a series of games where he was just like, like pouting like a big baby, man. So how do you defend somebody like that? When you want to.
The thing is again, it's difficult when you're dealing with all the criticism, and the only guy dealing with criticism. So you try dealing with that situation where it's just you dealing with the criticism, and 7 children, 7 kids that are just too young to be. So it's not easy work. You wanna be that guy for $23 million or 25? It's not easy work. It's not easy work. So I commend them for doing something like that, because I know most people will say, I'm not going to New York to get criticized while they draft these players and they don't say nothing. If it's Kevin Durant, trade these kids right now. Yeah. Trade them all right now. I need help right now, immediately.
Well, would you do that though? Let's say if Kevin Durant, circles
Kevin
the Knicks.
Durant is going to trade everybody. Kevin Durant does not play around. You see what he did? He traded everybody immediately for James Harden. Then he traded James Harden for Ben Simmons. Like, you're gonna deal with the criticism, and even at that, he still does not like to get the criticism. Now, the criticism he gets, he deserves. Yeah, but to deal with criticism, usually, people don't want to be dealing with criticism alone. Julius Randle's dealing with the criticism alone, and Tibbs at that, that's it. Because Derrick Rose, everybody forgets that Derrick Rose even plays. Nobody's gonna say anything to Derrick Rose.
Everybody forgets about Derrick Rose.
Everybody forgets about Derrick Rose.
Yeah, even after all these trades and stuff, we still got Derrick Rose on the roster. Nobody's putting Derrick Rose in any of these trades. It's really just Fournier and whoever else added to that with the draft picks. Fournier
is one of the more forgivable players. Like, he don't catch slander. He's just like, he's terrible. Trade him. That's it. But Julius Randle, we picking him apart. We're every play after play after. It's to the point where Julius Randle's like, listen, man, I'm tired of the criticism. Thumbs down. Bro, enough.
Yeah, definitely. I see the same thing too. To see if you got to put yourself in the guy's shoes, man, because everybody's coming at him. They was attacking his wife too, on Twitter. But even though his wife stepped into the arena too on her own, so she got the flack too behind the scenes. So it's a lot of pressure, a lot of stuff going on there. So it's understandable that he was out there with that cursing on the court and all that stuff. It's understandable, because how do you get it out? Because there's nobody with you. Before, we mentioned before he had Bullock. That's very underrated.
I heard about that. That's a good point about Bullock, but
yeah, that's very underrated.
He's a bigger man. He deserves better, because he's dealing with the brunt of the work and the brunt of the blame, and he's not paid enough. I don't think he's paid enough to deal with all that heat. It's a lot of heat. It's not a little bit. It's a lot. So, you got some bonus over there. He catches no heat, and it's catching like $26 million. It's like, man, he's coasting, living that easy life. So,
yeah, so much credit to Julius. All those things, even on the Nets and stuff too. Durant and all those guys, Kyrie. Imagine if Kyrie was over here, bro.
Oh my!
If Kyrie was over here, forget about it. You think Julius Randle was getting his ass flamed on? Kyrie would have been.
And look, and then people want to do this whole, I want to trade Tom Thibodeau. I wish we would have drafted. I'm sorry. I wish we would have had Kenny Atkinson as the coach.
Yeah.
The New York Knicks are not the Brooklyn Nets. Like, people want to create the whole Brooklyn Nets vibe, right? Like they want to do the whole Oklahoma City vibe, or the whole Brooklyn Nets vibe, where we can just develop young players and we will. I don't mind. No, this is New York. The New York Knicks will forever, in my understanding, and I could be wrong, we will always criticize players. It just is what it is. We need to, we care about the Knicks. We will always, there will always be scrutiny. Look at Brooklyn. Kevin Durant, bro, I don't remember when Kevin Durant caught any heat. Honestly, I'm like, yo, I'm like, how is Julius Randle catching this much heat, and Kevin Durant is allowed to fail in Brooklyn? Like, he's allowed to coast. It doesn't matter if he wins or loses, but in New York, it matters. And we're, the Knicks critics are very petty about it, petty about everything, and so forth and so forth. It comes with the territory, wearing the Knicks uniform, and that's what it is, man. He's having a vacation time in Brooklyn. Julius Randle, no, it's not. No, it's not. It's pressure every second, every minute. So far, every day in his contract is always a lot of pressure for Julius Randle. So he has a lot of pressure There's no pressure in Brooklyn, and you cannot convince me that you can bring that Brooklyn element and Kenny Atkinson element to the New York Knicks. Maybe you're right. Maybe you could. I just don't believe you can.
What's up with Kenny Atkinson though? Because Kenny Atkinson, if anything, he was more of like a Jeff Van Gundy kind of thing, a hardworking kind of guy. Trying to get the team element involved and stuff. Because before Durant got there, they had D'Angelo Russell and just basically a ragtag group of guys, and they was making the playoffs and stuff over there.
Well, it took them a while. It took like 3 years for them. Like we didn't even notice them until they started playing good basketball.
Right.
Like we didn't even notice. Like I was like, wait a minute. It's just like they kind of snuck up on us and like, oh snap, D'Angelo Russell's good. Joe Harris is good. Karis LeVert, they drafted good with Karis LeVert. And then he broke his leg. Can you imagine if anything like that happened? We're very in tune. Every acquisition, every trade, every situation. We're not them. You cannot convince me that we can be a laid back team. You know what I mean? Like people want this team to be like a laid back team, like Sacramento or like OKC. There's no pressure. We can just sit back and root for our team. No, like there's always pressure with the Knicks. Whether we could be it could be another losing year. It doesn't matter.
Right.
We will be talking about it. We have one of the largest podcasts in the world, possibly. It doesn't matter.
In any sport,
it's
got the most.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. What matters is like, what are you doing to get better? So forth and so forth. Are we competing? And
since we mentioned Kenny Atkinson, right, and Tom Thibodeau, he's like vet heavy, so he relied on Derrick Rose and stuff like that, but everybody got hurt. Kemba Walker betrayed him. Fournier took a while to get involved and stuff like that. So, because he believes in vets and stuff like that, Kenny Atkinson is kind of the opposite. He plays whoever's available with us. So do you think with the situation that happened with the Knicks, do you think Kenny Atkinson would have handled the situation a little bit better?
This is my whole thing. You made a good point about he's vet heavy.
Yeah.
Being a veteran, right? Remember we spoke about young players are inconsistent and shoot 40% from the field. Veterans know the game already, can make the shots more, and so forth and so forth. And so that's why there is, I believe, right? There's that distance. Like, yo, bro, like if you can make your shots and you're good at what you do and you're a rookie, fine. But if you're not consistent and you're missing all your shots and you're not defending well and you don't know your role well, that comes with the territory. Like, so I feel like he treats you like a person that expects you to be responsible. So there's levels to this. Like, I just feel like he treats you like, bro, there's levels to this. This is not the G League. This is not
high school.
This is not high school.
This is not the AAU and all that.
This is not Oklahoma City Thunder where we can be laid back and chill. No, we're gonna be judging you. We're gonna be, Obi Toppin. People sometimes used to say he's a bust. He's not that good, and he's proven Tom Thibodeau wrong. Rightfully so. That's what a coach wants from you.
Yeah,
that's what a coach wants from. I believe wants from you. So
the other argument with that, a lot of people was like, yo, they need to give Obi Toppin minutes. How come you're not just giving him the minutes? Just start this guy. How come you're not starting Frank? Remember Frank Ntilikina for like almost 5 years? They said, oh, they need to just give him the minutes, just start him. Right. That's not how it works. In like when it comes to a coach like this, you have to like prove it. But a lot of people still like State is one of those guys that he will say like nah, man, don't bullshit me with that, man. You know what I'm saying? The guys,
right.
But it's
can't ignore it. You can't ignore it. Because, but you make a good point. The only thing that I do like is that at least Obi is proving much more than Frank is, right?
Right.
So Frank was not getting no burn with Tibbs. Like he got shut down quick. Like he didn't play until like maybe March. Like and everybody was like, man, he's gonna start on the Tibbs and he's gonna be phenomenal.
Yo, remember Frank's mom came to the Garden and Tom Thibodeau gave him a DMP, bro.
Oh, possibly too. So like. And so I like that, Obi fights back with his game. He fights back with his energy. He's giving. You can't say like this stuff. He has that mentality of, yo, nobody gave me anything. I earned it. Quentin Grimes talks like that too. So I kind of like that character. Like, yo, bro, like just because I'm giving you a tough time doesn't mean that I don't want you to overcome these obstacles. You know what I mean? Like you gotta overcome them. You can't just, it's okay. There are gonna be complaints, but to like have this fan base, like, I don't know. Like some Obi arguments are very valid. Like I am pro Obi wanting to get more minutes. I wish we can play more small ball, but I do also want him to prove it to Tom Thibodeau too. And I know that Tom Thibodeau is not just,
I just threw this out there. This is Russell McCall. I'm watching the chat. I'm listening to you and whatever, trying to make sure
he's a hot player,
paying attention. But he's been popping off, saying a bunch of stuff there, man. So I just put this here for him.
Yeah, but he makes a good point that Randle takes plays off, and that's 1 year. Again, Randle, that's a good critique for Julius Randle last season, but again, Julius Randle proved himself to the league. Like he proved himself to the league to say I'm all NBA over Jason Tatum, where Jason Tatum is going to the podcast, the Old Man in the Tree. Shout out to the JJ Redick podcast, and he's mad that Julius Randle, that's my opinion, I could be wrong, somebody who's averaging 19, 10, and 4 is made all NBA over him. So so he proved himself. You can't. So the NBA is not going to just make Julius Randle all NBA.
Right.
You have to prove it. So that's that's important. So
this whole take plays off stuff is kind of overrated too, man, because how many games did Julius Randle would drop 30, 15 rebounds, 7 assists, what I'm saying, perfect shooting all across the board, playing defense and all this, that, and the other. Like how come nobody really talks about that? They always talk about Randle takes plays off. But at the same time, if you look all around the league, say like Trae Young, for instance, right? Trae Young, they hide him on defense because he can't guard me. Trae Young can't guard you. They hide him on defense. They have somebody else guarding the point guard. Right. That's why they got this guy. What's the name? From the Spurs. What's my man's name?
White.
No, not White. From the Spurs. DeJounte Murray.
Murray. I'm sorry.
Yeah. They got DeJounte Murray because DeJounte Murray is going to guard whoever Trae Young can't guard, basically. So that's why they did that. So, I mean, you do that to your star players. You do the best that you can to protect them because you need them to give you the 35, 15, and 7 when you need it. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing that I was kind of like off on Tom Thibodeau, because you could see that Julius is stressing the fuck out. Like a lot of games he looks swole up, because he's just out there dehydrated, playing a lot of minutes, leading almost, top of the league in minutes. He's not getting no break. But meanwhile, young boy Obi Toppin is right there. Right there.
But what's a problem too is that Derek White was not Derek Rose was phenomenal with Obi, but he got hurt 25 games. So we lose that, and I know because I just remember like Alec Burks and Alec Burks, he's giving a lot of effort, caught a lot of heat too, and people trying to make the argument Emmanuel quickly should start. I don't think Emmanuel quickly should have started, but but I think he should. He should get more minutes. All I ask is for Obi more minutes, Emmanuel quickly more minutes. That sort of stuff I ask, but and to prove themselves, I want Obi to make all NBA. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like I want these guys to make all NBA. I don't just want you to be a Knick legend, so I don't know which one is. If I want you to be respected around the league, like bro, like you can't just because I feel like it has become cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, so to speak. Like I don't want to have these. Oh, he's a great New York Knick, but he hasn't improved that much in the league. What? Like, no. I even like the incentives that they did for RJ Barrett's contract. He has to make all NBA. Good.
Yeah, to get the full bread. Yeah.
Well,
check this out here. He said, Alawaz, shout out to Alawaz, one of the greats here in the comments and stuff. I see everybody here. Shout out to you guys. But he's talking about Obi. He doesn't rebound because he's always out on a break. Because guys are having a conversation in the chat here. But this is all true. We gotta critique these guys the way that we see it, and we can't cap for them. I'm saying the things are happening out there for a reason. There's a reason why guys are not getting certain minutes and stuff, because if Julius is out, then we need Obi Toppin to man the middle, and he's to this day hasn't really proven that he can really bang on the inside and be that interior person. He's more of of a finesse guy. Like this right here, him basket hanging. That's what do you call it? That's what you do in the pro-ams. That's pro-am basketball right there. So that this is a very valid comment. I just wanted to point it out that I'm looking at it. Yeah, man. So I mean, like holding people accountable, man. We like I agree with everything that you're saying, man.
Because you know what it is, Eru? You also get, I don't want to say it, but like I don't want to say you get humiliated. Like people work to sort of embarrass you, call you a hater for holding your player for holding young players accountable. Like people are just like, hey, you're not a supporter. You are.
Your takes are trash. They like to throw that out.
They want to make you feel like you're picking on a 5-year-old or a 10-year-old or a young teenager, so to speak, just because you want to criticize. Like, hey man, he's not being efficient. He needs to be more efficient next season. Like even that might be too much for some Knicks fans. Like that's too much. Like, hey man, why don't you criticize Julius Randle rather than say that about even Obi's efficient. That's why I support Obi. That Obi more minutes. Yeah, he's shooting like 45% or 50%. That's why I support that. I support that. But everybody else, they deserve that criticism. Like, yo, bro, next season you gotta be better than from the field.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Well, that basket hanging stuff is good too. But I agree with you. Like his effort too, his motor, he never stops. So even though if he makes a bad play or if he's not strong enough inside, at least he's working so hard. So you can see that. So at least you can be negative but still be positive at the same time. That's another thing too that's missing from the argument. Like I could say I don't like RJ Barrett for XYZ, but I can also say that he's good for XYZ too. So why can't I say both? Why do I have to be totally positive straight across the board just to be like that? That's why I can't take either.
You're picking on a teenager, and you're like, oh, I don't want. Yeah. Who wants to be that guy?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's
I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to. I'd rather pass.
Yeah, well, everybody, right now, this middle of the day, 83 people are watching, man. I just want to point that out in the middle of the day.
Oh, I appreciate you all, man. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, and I was supposed to have put it up earlier that way people could see it, but I put it up maybe a couple hours ago, and people are here to see who are they here to see? They're here to see you. So here's my thing. Since we're here, we're gonna wrap it up actually in a little while, but let me just put this here. This is Ralph's YouTube channel. 63 subscribers, fam. What the fuck is that shit about? You know what I'm saying? Like for people to support him on Twitter, that's fine. Because you know what? Twitter's a free app. That there's no incentive to reward somebody for views on that app. You know what I'm saying? So like Ralph could say something and get 1,000 views over there with no problem because there's no monetary thing in there. Now this guy has a channel that he's very active. He just posted recently. You know what I'm saying? He's active. He's trying to be more active on the channel, but nobody's subscribing to his channel. You know what I'm saying? That's what I don't understand about this whole culture here with the basketball thing. Because if you like Ralph, then support him fully, not when it's convenient to you. That's the one thing that I want to say since you're here. I don't think that's fair. There's a lot of people out here that I will have on this channel and that I've had on the channel so far that are really, really good. And they need their accolades, whatever. But it's more about the freaking negative stuff and all this other nonsense that people love. But the people that actually love this team, and you can see Ralph Diaz loves this team. You know what I'm saying? He's a diehard Knicks fan. He fits the description. He knows what the fuck he's talking about, and everyone is not on supporting the way that they should, and it's not right. I just have to say that with you here to give you the respect that you deserve.
Man, I appreciate you, man. Listen, one thing that I learned, man, that is I appreciate everybody, right? That's everybody in the chat. Those who do subscribe, phenomenal. I appreciate y'all. But I just appreciate like being in the platform with you and talking like that's like I kind of miss that before. I sometimes I like to record by myself, but there's also that moment. Sometimes I'm like, damn, I miss because sometimes I like to do it alone, but I also like, man, ain't nothing more fun than talking to another Knicks fan.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
It doesn't. It's a thing. It's a thing that it's hard to. I could do something. I don't mind recording alone and learning this and learning that, but talking Knicks basketball with somebody else. I mean, it's
like I made a point in the last couple because this is Diehard as a friend. I'm trying to figure out, do I have anybody like me out there? You know, that was the thesis statement when I first started this podcast. I was looking for somebody that sounded like me, looked like me, and had the same passion as me, and wasn't a fucking asshole like some of the guys on sports radio, ESPN, and stuff like that. So I started this podcast myself. I didn't even know, but nobody out there was out there, but like me. Then after I started this, then I found Sim. I'm like, oh snap, I'm not alone here. You know, and then I find people like you and stuff like that. So it's amazing. So the point I want to say is that there is a feeling. There is a feeling that's out there that's universal, that people feel it in Brazil. You got the Knicks fan Brazil channel. You got guys in Austria and freaking across the water over there in Europe. There's the diehard fans over there. You know what I'm saying? There is a feeling that we all possess in each other. That's fire, that the fire is burning, that we need to talk about this Knicks.
Yeah.
You know, these guys, they can't speak English, bro. But we still got the same universal.
Man, just you know, it's so much. It's like it's like I need to talk it, and then after that, I'm good for the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like it's like a cigarette. You know, like a good drink, right? It's like a freaking stiff drink, right?
Yeah, it's like it's like you know, it's like you know, and then you just feel like you know, like I feel like I did my job, like I did my job as you know, as part of the team. Like you know what, man. And I hope I hope I help the channel. I hope I you know, and that I did more because like you know for the next like.
Well, I'm telling you, man. Listen, man. I just want to let you know that you are part of the culture. It's super important to everything that's happening right now with this movement, this YouTube internet movement that's happening now. You're very important to this thing. I gotta let you know.
I appreciate you, man. Same here, man. I mean, likewise, man. You know, one thing I'm jealous about. That you started in 2017. Like, I'm like, man, I could have met you guys even sooner. I'm like, damn, I wish. I mean, that would have been cool. I would have been in the. Man, if I would have met you early, I would have been gunning. I would have been right there.
Yo, you know what I'm saying?
With you the whole shebang. I would have been right there.
Well, listen, there's still time for all that stuff. But you know what I tell my wife? I said, yo, if I would have met you back in 2000, man, you would have had like 7 babies by now. You know, that's what I always tell my wife. But that's the thing there. We met when we were supposed to meet. You know what I'm saying? So you know, your vagina is okay, you know, intact. Right, you know, right now it would be on the side of you. It would be a separate person. That's how many babies she would have. You know what I'm saying? But you know, things happen for a reason, bro.
But as a Knicks fan, I'm like, yo, you got to be able to be on podcast 300 pod. I'm like, yo, my man, I would have been there all day. Me?
Oh, yeah. Well, listen, man. You know, like, are we friends or what?
Yeah,
100%. I think 100%. I don't know you from nothing. You didn't pay me nothing. My wallet's still empty. I'm still broke. You know what I'm saying? You didn't give me no money. You know what I'm saying? So listen, man. You know, we got the blood. You know, the connection and stuff like that with this culture here. So I mean, you know, like you know, I've been trying to tell you that you're invited to be here with me whenever you want to, you know. And then if you need me to help you with something, just hit me up, man. See what's going on.
But before I thought it was like because I know that you mentioned that you like betting, so I was like, okay, yeah, if I for betting, yeah, I come through whenever, whatever. But I didn't know it was like as like this, like we're just gonna have conversation because, you know, it's now I'm learning that it's cool to. You know, sometimes when you start a conversation with what's it called, with a preconceived idea of doing like a business of doing betting, then I'm like, okay, when we start betting, I'll do it. But I'm like, nah, it's just because. If it was just because, I would have been here a long time ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
now you know.
Just because it's just good enough for me, man. I and all the extra stuff we could throw that on the, you know what I'm saying, that's extra stuff too. We just adding on top of it, you know what I mean? That's all that is. So I'm like, yo, I don't mind. But next season, I look forward to you know, FanDuel or whatever you're doing, whatever app you're using. This FanDuel, what is it?
You know, whatever the sports betting stuff.
Right, so I'm ready to do that, but I really got I got so much other stuff because I really, you know, I want to defend Julius Randle as well. You know how that goes. I got to put in a lot of work. I got my work cut out for that. So,
well, listen, you know, Bodega just put here. You said the same thing to Hector yesterday. Well, it's not the only person that said it to. I said it to this guy too. Mr. here cracking on me about the pullout game, Mr. I Am Jarrell. I said the same thing about him. You know, at 7:00 tonight, Hard Will, I'm going to talk to him and let him go off too. And I'm going to say probably the same thing about Hard Will too. You know, we'll find out tonight when me and him get busy. But you know, it is what it is. It's a universal thing that only certain people understand what this is about. Not everybody feels the same way that I feel here, or the way that you feel. Not everybody's on it. Not everybody's on it the same way.
Yeah, that's why, like, even like, you know, like, how do I say that? But like, I'm trying to, like, because like, how do I say that? Because I also listened to the Hector interview. Shout out to my guy Heck. That's my guy though. Heck,
Yeah, he's dope.
That's my guy. Yeah. That's my guy. Shout out to Heck. So
yeah.
Anyways, how do I say that? Because like, you know, I too grew up in hip hop music, right? And in the 90s, as you know, being original. Oh, you there? Okay.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm looking because somebody's saying that Amadi Wise. I don't know if he's messing around with us. He's saying that Donovan breaking news. Donovan Mitchell got traded. Is he trolling the chat? That's what I'm looking on the side here. Want to know what's going on here. I think he's trolling.
One thing that I want to say is real quick is that I want to be original, right?
Yeah.
So one thing. So I'm ready. So that's the thing. Like I'm trying to create original videos, so to speak.
Yeah,
and that's one thing that I always respect. Like I know your platform, and I'm like, okay, I know what he's doing, but I gotta be original, and I just try to do that. So
yeah, definitely. With me too, man. I don't really watch other people's pods. I don't listen to other people's pods because I just don't want other people's thoughts.
I started thinking about doing the same thing. Like, you know what, man, I might have to start doing that. Like, stop listening to, even though like part of me wants to listen. That Knicks fandom, Knicks fandom wants to be there.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like my Knicks fandom, like, oh snap, that's him. I'm gonna like I don't want to lose that whole thing of. Like, if I watch nothing but Knicks, I'm not gonna stop watching nothing but Knicks because I have a YouTube channel. Like I feel like definitely. Like I gotta own up to it. Like, listen, that's Freezy too. Like, even though I may take breaks from YouTube channels, but like at the same time, I feel like, yo, bro, like don't stop being you as a Knicks fan because you have a YouTube channel and business.
Well, check this. This is my main overlay. MBK fan right up top. Sim don't pay me to do that. That's just out of love for just being down with those guys.
Okay.
And they reciprocated too. Freezy's also a part of the whole thing. So I mean, you can still do your thing and support and be down for each other. Whatever. Just be supportive of each other, but still do your own thing. Still, all that's still possible. And another thing too, it's not easy doing this, man. It's not easy stepping out there to have your face in people's face. And constantly be involved in where people know you and they know what you're gonna say, they know what takes you have, they know what stance you have. It's very hard to put yourself out there in that way. It's very so there's a lot of stuff that people don't really understand. The investment of your spirit. You're investing your spirit in this thing too, man. So that's a big part of it also.
But that kind of resonated with me when you said that. Like, I might have to just, because like being original, like having my own thoughts, like I take that to heart. Like I can't be like somebody else. Like I don't want to be like no.
Snapping the jab like crazy.
You're not gonna say like, yo, you talk like this guy. Like I can't tolerate that. Like,
yeah, we're from the same thing. That's the hip, like you said. That's the hip hop shit. I would have asked you about that, the hip hop stuff, man. So are you into hip? You into hip hop, I guess, right?
I was more into hip hop. I would say to the late 90s, and then you started hearing slow in the 2000s. It was like I started dying down, and I just started to like learn how to listen. Listen, I worked in a hotel, and when you work in a hotel, you listen to a lot of music all day. You know what I mean? They have a playlist all day. So I learned to listen to pop, and I'm like, okay, I could jam into this. I learned how to have my own playlist that I would jam it just as much as a hip hop song. You know what I mean? I just started to sort of correlate, especially they say that the older you get, the less you start to like the new music. So
yeah, definitely.
So I kind of just started doing that, but I still do like, I have my moments. I have some artists that I like, and I like this guy, I like this, but like then I started to adjust. Like, listen, I gotta be able to adjust to that. I'm getting older, and that I'm not gonna like everything. I might like certain songs. I might like a certain artist, but like,
yeah.
But But like but like when it comes to being original, like that's I definitely want to be that. I don't.
That's another thing too with this culture now. Being original is not important.
Yeah.
It's not important nowadays. People's
No.
like, oh, original now. I want to know what's hot. What's hot is right. Was
yeah, and then emulate it. Yeah.
So I mean, that's not cool either.
But I feel like I feel like I could talk to you for another hour, man. I don't mind it.
I'm trying to tell you. Yeah.
I feel like we could adjust the conversation. I feel like mentally, I'm like, man, Rob. I said we could start talking about other stuff, but
yeah. But here's the thing too. Like, I was making the jokes with the other guys to say I don't even remember the last time I called my mom. I don't remember the last time I spoke to my dad. But I'm here talking to these guys all day long.
Yeah.
To Knicks. I don't talk on the phone. Like my friends and stuff like that. I barely talk to them. It's just text and that type of thing. But then they'll see me doing 2-3 hour lives with people that I don't know, strangers and stuff like that.
Right.
It's like the whole point is like it's that feeling, it's that fire that we all have. That you just don't understand. You just don't understand what that's all about. And
speaking of my dad passed away because of the pandemic, and that kind of like
rest in peace too, man. Yeah.
That kind of like I remember I was taking a job interview like could have been like 3 or 4 months ago, and so I'm doing a job interview, and I'm like, I'm telling them, hey, listen, I also have a YouTube channel. I also have, and that what was gonna say like.
Whatever you was gonna say, it was gonna be some hot shit though. But
right.
That's a good segue there because I forgot to shout out Paris Duggar with the super chat here. He still was talking about Obi at the time, but you was giving bars at the time. That's why I didn't I forgot about it. But shout out to Paris, always stepping in, with everybody, not just me. He gives it up for everybody. Salute to him.
Also, salute to him, man.
Yeah, definitely.
But I remember taking interview about my dad passing away, and it kind of reminded me like, man, like that that doing this, like talking about the Knicks and being here, like it kind of helped me get through it, so to speak. Like I needed a timeout at that time because like during that time I couldn't, it was during the time. Remember, we couldn't even remember it was a time where they couldn't even have funerals.
Yeah, we had virtual funerals and things like that.
Yeah, at that point, hey, listen, if somebody passed away, that's it. Like that's the last time you saw him. That's the last time I saw him. That's it. So there was no, so this kind of helped me get through it. So it gave me a flashback. Like I'm like, I remember having an interview. I'm like, I know what I'm gonna do when I get on YouTube. I'm just gonna do whatever I want to do and not care what anybody thinks. And I'm just gonna just like.
Yeah, it's amazing, to go through hardship like that, to go through something so that's terrible, man. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to deal with something like that, but it gives you clarity, man. Those things, I had a near-death experience too back in 2018, and that's when I started this podcast. I started it actually 2018, with the thing because I almost died, twice. So when you're sitting there and you can see, the light changing on you. That all of a sudden that puts things into perspective, man. Same thing.
So you mentioned a little bit of like what you said near death, like okay, you mentioned.
Well, I had pneumonia, man. So I had pneumonia, I had double pneumonia. They said I only had like maybe like 10-15% use of my lungs at the time when they saved me, because they were disco. I could hear them talking, but as my eyesight was fading, and I was coming back, I guess, they almost had to strip me and put the freaking things on me. They almost had to do that to me. You know what I'm saying? So to get to that point when you're sitting there, and you could just feel whatever, you're just thinking to yourself, like you feel that peace. You feel that peace that you've been trying to get for this whole time. Same thing, you're thinking about your pops or whatever. You think the world is ending or whatever. Sometimes you sit back and then now you finally get the peace that you've been asking for. And through that peace, you get that clarity where you feel like, okay, listen, man, I need to do what I want to do, because you just get that clarity, man. So that's what gave birth to all this. And listen, man, it's amazing that COVID thing happened, man, because that COVID sparked that feeling in a lot of people, man. It changed the lives of a lot of people in a lot of positive ways,
Yeah, so
you're not alone in
that okay, wow.
Yeah, definitely, bro.
Glad to hear it, man. I mean, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, guys here are always snapping on me because I'm always sweating, man. Do I have do I use the air conditioner? I cannot mess with the air conditioner. Air conditioner gives me like what do you call it? Hay fever. I get like a headache and that type of thing. So I don't use that. And I got this thing here, and it's like blocking the windows, and my fan is over there too. So it's like, oh man.
I was gonna bring up my green screen, but I was like, no, I don't want this. The headache of bringing that stuff up and down. Oh.
Yeah, and then also too, I got lighting too, so the lighting is cooking me over here.
Yeah, I got my lighting. I'm able to like work it, but like that green screen sometimes like I got the Elgato joint where it's like,
look at that shit.
It's just like I gotta
check
be.
Yo, like I feel like maybe like last year or so. It was before last season. I used to be doing a podcast in my underwears. Like, so you couldn't tell because I'm sitting here, I'm sitting here and you can only see from my chest up.
Right.
So one pod, right? So I dare somebody find it, because I didn't edit it. I just left it like that because you can't really see. But I stood up, man, and I was in my fucking underwears. You know what I'm saying? So once I caught it, I said, "Oh shit." You know what I'm saying? And then when I came back, I kind of like dipped in, like you couldn't see me, or whatever. But after that, because it's so hot in here, man, for that reason, man. But yeah, man.
But right now, speaking of standing up, like I stand up and I see this belly. I'm like, this pandemic. I'm like, what happened to me? Like, I'm like, yo, like I thought, like, and the thing is like before I used to have time. Like, but when you do this YouTube stuff, like this YouTube starts to take up all your time. Like,
yo, shout out to Budweiser, man. Budweiser was the sponsor of this body. You know what I'm saying, during the pandemic. You know what I'm saying?
I'm like, yo, bro. Like, I remember I had to like catch a bus. I'm like, yo, I gotta catch this bus, and I went for like a quick sprint. I'm like, hey, yo, like this is not what the. I was like, yo, we're gonna have to change this right here.
Yeah,
so.
Man. Well, let's leave it there because we're gonna go down the next rabbit hole for another hour. So you got to come back. We got like not just come back, but we got to like get together and start chopping it up and stuff. More together just so you can get it all because obviously we got some chemistry going here, man. I'm quite sure a lot of people appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? So I'd like to have you back on if you want to, or like if you're doing something, just hit me up and see what we can do here, man.
Right? Yeah, definitely. Because I always stop by and watch the show. So
I know you do.
Yeah,
definitely.
So I like to come through and listen and see what's up. But yeah, let me know, and also I'll let you know, and also like whatever works because I just try to follow people's rhythms, so to speak. I'm like, okay, like what's he doing? All right, cool, boom. And I just try to like. But this year I kind of want to be more on YouTube a little bit more, just to I like to have my opinions sort of a little bit more around. Like,
let's do this, man. Remember, I scolded everybody a few minutes ago. You had 63 followers. Let's see how many jumped on there. I just refreshed it.
63.
It says 63 before. So I mean, how much you got now? Oh, 65. Look at that shit. You know what I'm saying? 65. Look what happens when you come on this podcast. Look what happens to you.
You know what it is? It's who also like you guys, like if you guys follow me, oh man, this guy, I get to chop it up with you guys, man.
Yeah.
So man, listen, man, like that's all I care about, man. Like, I mean, I care about everything matters ultimately, but like,
yeah,
talking basketball with you, like talking Knicks basketball, it's like that's I already hit a home run. I already hit a home run already,
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Finding that person. I'm already ahead of the game regardless. Because besides the subscribers and stuff like that, we're not getting rich out here because it's not like we're getting millions of subscribers and stuff like that. So that's not what it's about. It's really about this connections that we're making. Yeah. All right, man. So let's wrap it up before we go down the next 2 hours. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think we did it. I gave you everything.
Yeah, man, I give it up to you, man. This is Raphael Diaz. His name is not Ralph, okay? It's Raphael, for Christ's sake. Yeah. It's not Ralph, okay? Everybody's calling you Wreck-It Ralph and stuff like that. It's Raphael, for Christ's sake.
Yo, I got a story with that right there.
Okay, good. Finish off the show with
that. Because like I started my name. That's a good song because like I started my first name, right? Was God of Moses and Elijah, right? Like those that know me.
Yeah,
those that know me know oh snap, that's Ralph. Because originally, right, like I didn't anticipate this pandemic.
Right.
I didn't anticipate. So I was playing video games, right? So I'm playing video games. I'm like, man, I said, let me change my name. I was like, I used to have now my PlayStation name is Raph the Christian, right? That's my PlayStation name. So I'm trying to like build that up, right? But at that time, I was like, you know what? I was playing video games with my YouTube channel. And I'm like, well, let me just leave it at God of Moses and Elijah. And I left it alone like that. So then I'm talking to Sam. I'm calling Sam, and then everything is coming through. God, I'm like, I said, oh snap, what's going on with this God of Moses and Elijah? So Ralph, you're gonna have to change this name. Like this is not like. I was like, I don't know if this is a good thing you're doing right here. So it took me, and then I went to Freezy Show, God of Moses and Elijah. So because my middle name is it's Raphael Elias Diaz, right?
Right.
Well, in Spanish, they say Rafael Elias Diaz, right? In Spanish.
Right.
So whatever. So I'm like, oh man, I'm leaving this name on. So whatever. I'm arguing with everybody, and everybody's so calling me rough. So I kind of like have this conflict of like with my name. I'm like, is this good? You know, I'm having conflicts. I'm like, yo, man, I don't know if this. So I had to change my name. So sometimes, like when I had issues correcting or wanting to correct or trying to come up with a nickname, like like at least you have a cool name, Diehard Knicks Podcast, Legion of Knicks Podcast, Nothing But Knicks, Blue Orange Cheese. Like, so I'm like, man, I'm like, I don't know what changed. I was like, what should I name them? So I'm like, let me put myself Raphael Diaz because last time you came through with God of Moses and Elijah, like you're gonna start confusing people with these names because you keep changing your name all the time. So I really I'm
gonna start calling you God of War. How about that? Because you ready for the action at all times, man. You know
man. So like at that time, like, so that's why I kind of have that issue of like, man, yeah, sure, Raphael Diaz, like that, let's leave it at that.
Yeah. That's a good choice, man. I get everything you're saying. That is definitely like a conflict, especially with the meaning behind it originally, and then now you pop in, now you
arguing with people. Yeah,
arguing with people with that. Yeah.
I was
so
like,
it's like a conflict.
No. Like, what do you mean Julius Randle is another Enos Cantor? No way. But Julius Randle is gonna have a good season. He's gonna be a better version of Draymond Green this season, and blah 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 blah. And then when people, and then he starts to have a good season.
Right.
So. But that was my conflict with my name. I wish I could come up with a cool name. If I do, I'll let you guys know.
All right, Mr. Ralph. I gotta cut you off, man.
All right.
Definitely, man. Great having you on. I'm glad everybody popped in to take a look and stuff, man. Please support Ralph and everything. Every time you see him, if you follow him on Twitter and stuff like that, follow him what he's doing because he's doing Twitter Spaces with Knicks Spaces, right? That's what you're gonna be doing this year.
Yes.
Yeah.
New State, Charlotte. Let's talk Knicks and. Nick Stan, Brutus.
Yeah, State too. State's gonna be with you guys too.
Yeah, State. Yes, I think of course it says State. I'm ready to argue with him already.
Yeah. So I mean, Kratos. We're gonna start calling you Kratos, the God of War, man. Yeah, man. So anyway, thank everybody. Thanks for coming in on the chat, for snapping on us and stuff, being a big part, snapping on each other. I see you guys arguing with each other, man. So that's great. So anyway, without further ado, let me just say goodbye. 4 fingers to the forehead, tucking the thumb, salute. That's what I say on the show, and I'll catch you guys in like 40 minutes with Hard Will. Peace, y'all.